Pay attention to the man in the white and gray hoodie. He walks off the train, pulling his hood down and taking off his sunglasses. He looks around, and then he reaches down, pulling something out of his pant leg. He quickly covers it up with his sweatshirt, and no one else in the busy train station has noticed. 20 minutes earlier, 18-year-old Mia Wilson got on the train with two of her sisters, Tashaya and Latifa. Security cameras recorded the man following them and slowing them by. For multiple stops, he watched them behind his sunglasses, but he didn't approach them. Around 9:35 p.m., Mia, Tashaya, and Latifa got off the train to transfer, and he walked close behind them. The sisters called their dad to let him know they should be back home soon, and they waited for the train doors to open. But just moments later, outside the station, a police officer's body cam records the man running past. He points them to the platform, telling them someone was attacked. The cops rush to the scene to help. Then, surveillance video shows the same man at a bus stop. After getting off the bus and away from the security cameras, he disappears. He thought he got away, but when police review this footage, they will find the crucial mistake he made during his escape that will ultimately lead to his capture and avenge the sisters' attack. It's July 22nd, 2018, around 9:45 p.m. Around 20 minutes away, officers search the train for him too. This time, they find the man right in the middle of the doorway. He doesn't. Officers arrest him without incident. Less than 24 hours after the attack, the manhunt has come to an end. And while the man seems cooperative in this footage, he still has a plan to try to escape justice. In February of 2020, John Lee Cowell goes on trial. He has a history of mental illness, and he pleads not guilty by reason of insanity. When he testifies, he leans into it, saying he believed the sisters were aliens who kidnapped his grandmother.
He just made a mockery out of it, like the things he was talking about up there because he wanted to play crazy.
At one point, I intended to play the video to demonstrate that he knew what he was doing. He started screaming, yelling, cussing at me, telling me that I knew he was innocent, and simply disrupting the courtroom.
Even after the judge repeatedly warns him to stop, he continues his rant, cursing at the prosecutor, and gets removed from the courtroom. The security footage from the night of the stabbing makes it clear he had a plan to attack and escape, even having a backup outfit to change into afterwards. He targeted the sisters instead of anyone else at the station, and the prosecution considers charging Cowell with a hate crime as well.
There were many women and people who entered into the bar platform. He did not focus on any of them. As soon as he saw 3 young African-American women, he fixated on them, and every indication, every angle of surveillance makes that very clear. While he was in custody, he went out of his way to engage an African-American deputy and proceeded to call her lots of racial slurs as well. There's no doubt in my mind that the assault was racially motivated.
You killed her because of her skin. You didn't kill her for anything else.
But with how difficult it would be to prove it was a hate crime, District Attorney Butch Ford recommends seeking premeditated murder and the special circumstance of lying in wait because he watched and followed them onto the train before attacking at the station. The family agrees, hoping to send him to jail for the rest of his life. And as Ford reviews the phone calls Cowell made while in custody, he makes a breakthrough.
Mr. Cowell is happy to speak to his mental health caregivers.
The man who police say shot and killed 3 people in Mount Washington this past weekend has also now died. So 2 of the victims were sisters. WLWT News 5's anchor Chris Jacobs here now with the update. Hi, Chris.
Yeah, hey, Sheree. So that suspected gunman was identified by police as 26-year-old Samuel Erickson. They say he killed himself after he shot 3 others. Erickson was initially hospitalized in critical condition. Now, we're also learning from police that Erickson knew at least one of the victims and had a romantic interest in one of them. Police say they're not investigating this as a hate crime. So this happened on Sunday afternoon on Beacon Street in Mount Washington. CPD says Erickson shot and killed Bimnet Darice, Eden Adugna, and Fivan Adugna. When police got there, Bimnet and one of the women were already dead. The other woman, along with Erickson, were taken to the hospital where they both later died. We're told Fivan and Eden were sisters who both worked as pharmacy technicians for Good Sam Hospital. TriHealth telling WLWT they were cherished members of the hospital team. And
the body found along Route 50 on Sunday afternoon in Anne Arundel County. is in fact that of missing teen Dakara Thompson. Now, earlier this morning, police announced that she had been killed and a man has already been arrested and charged in connection with her murder. That suspect, according to Prince George's County Police, is in the United States illegally and is now subject to an ICE detainer. News 4's Darcy Spencer joins us live in Bowie, where that man was taken into custody. It is the news her parents, her community were hoping they would not receive. Darcy Spencer, bring us up to speed with what we know.
And that's right, Erica. You know, in this shaken in this Bowie community, many just finding out this news today, this morning, this afternoon from us as we ask people questions in the community. That killing allegedly happened in the house right here behind me. I spoke to a woman who lives here. She asked to not be shown on camera, but she says she had no idea a crime had happened inside the house and that this suspect is her cousin. It was inside this house on Cambridge Drive in Bowie, inside this bedroom that investigators say 19-year-old Dakara Thompson was murdered.
All right, guys, so once again, we got to talk about another sad, tragic story that is being ignored by the mainstream of the media because it doesn't fit the narrative, okay? And it's basically the same thing over and over and over again, specifically when it comes to these illegal immigrants who should not be in this country, who should have been deported from this country. They're not deported, they're allowed to stay until they do something horrible, terrible to an actual American citizen, and that's what...
Continue to follow the breaking news of the deadly shooting at a church in Minneapolis where 2 children were killed and 6 more children are in critical condition, along with others who were injured in this shooting. But we now have an identification on the shooter. Let me bring in MSNBC's Mark Santia along with Christopher O'Leary, a former FBI counterterrorism official. All we knew up until this point, Mark, the brief description we got at the press conference was early 20s, wearing black clothing, cargo-like pants, but now we know who this person is.
You're right, Chris, and according to multiple senior law enforcement officials briefed on this matter, they say federal law enforcement has identified the Minneapolis church shooter as Robin Westman. Now, police have said publicly that Robin Westman is in their 20s with a limited criminal history. NBC News has confirmed with those same law enforcement officials that the suspect left behind videos that were posted online. There were writings that referenced suicide as well as extremely violent thoughts and ideas. There was an apology to their family and a handwritten sketch of the interior layout of a church. Now, Chris, it's not clear or confirmed if that sketch, that individual sketch, is the church where the shooter eventually opened fire, but that's what we know right now. So Robin Westman has been identified by federal law enforcement as the shooter.
And it was pretty clear, Chris, when they gave the press conference, because they said back then he had a limited criminal history, that they must have known who he was, but now they're obviously comfortable in letting us know that information, or various people who are confirming that for us. But in
surveillance footage at a local gun store shows Minnesota church shooter Robin Westman shopping for guns days before a deadly tragedy at a Catholic school last week. The owner of Frontiersman Sports, Corey Krause, shared the video with CNN. In the clips, the shooter could be seen browsing for ammo, testing out different guns, and smiling and laughing with staff and another customer. Krause told CNN that the shooter purchased a revolver from the store that was not used during the shooting, and that he wasn't there when Westman came in. He explained to CNN that his staff are well trained to not sell firearms or ammunition to a person if their behavior and actions raise alarms. According to Krause,
we can bring you a photo of the suspect in the Minnesota shooting. He's been identified as Robin Westman. Multiple senior law enforcement officials have told our US partner network NBC News. And NBC News has confirmed with those law.
It has been more than a year since body parts surfaced throughout Milwaukee County, launching a massive search for a missing teenager, Shade Robinson.
Police say Robinson was last seen alive on a first date. It is a crime filled with twists and turns, and in 1 week, the trial's expected to start for the accused killer.
Tonight, our Bria Jones has new video, new witness accounts that paint a picture of how we got here.
April 2nd, 2024, a gloomy spring day in Milwaukee County. The waves of Lake Michigan bringing a chilling discovery, a severed human leg in Watermont Park. The grim finding would unravel the mystery of the disappearance of 19-year-old Sade Carlina Robinson. Prosecutors say Robinson vanished after a first date with 33-year-old Maxwell Anderson. Unsealed warrant revealed a confidential informant told investigators Anderson planned to kill Robinson. And the arrest of Anderson for homicide, arson, and mutilation charges.
This morning, a community in shock in Buffalo, New York.
When I first saw him shooting, he shot a woman, he shot a deacon, he shot another woman, and then he went in the store and started shooting again.
10 people shot dead and 3 more injured after a gunman opened fire at a Tops-friendly supermarket in a predominantly black neighborhood.
This is the worst nightmare that any community can face.
The suspect, identified as 18-year-old Peyton Gendron, has been arraigned on 1 count of first-degree murder and held without bail. Authorities say he drove there from 200 miles away and live-streamed the attack that is now being investigated as a hate crime.
This was pure evil. It was straight up racially motivated hate crime from somebody outside of our community.
Police say around 2:30 Saturday afternoon, the suspect wearing body armor and a tactical helmet first fired at 4 people in the parking lot, killing 3.
We're going to need some officers inside the Tops because we have numerous bodies.
The shooter then entered the grocery store, shooting 9 others, including a retired Buffalo police officer who confronted him. The guard fired multiple shots that hit the suspect, but that didn't stop him. He was wearing protective tactical gear. The heavily armed gunman fatally shooting the guard moments later.
I still don't even believe it happened, actually, that a person would go into a supermarket full of people.
Police arriving at the chaotic scene, taking the alleged shooter into custody.